Welcome back, War Room fans. So, Kickstarter, War Room, 2nd edition. I know you guys have been anxiously awaiting to pledge and you can get your guys copies. And for all the other people who are out there not sure what they want to do yet, they're going on Board Game Geek or any other place, maybe YouTube, watching my channel. So I'm going to give you a couple reasons why you want to back it. If you don't already have War Room, here's why you want to get it. And this is coming from a guy who is 100% knee-deep into War Room. I love this game, and I've been making videos upon videos. It is an awesome game. But let's get into like real details. Why do you want the game? First off, Bryce, do you agree with me that if you spend $200 on this game and you just look at the box and you open it up and take out the components, would you feel it's worth $200?
Yes.
Based on all the other games he has. And Bryce has quite a collection of games.
Yes, I would. I'm of course referring to the first edition stuff. I felt like I got my money's worth for it. Now, I also bought the Jumbo Pack expansion too.
Correct.
So I've got, the extra large map board and the little War Room command sticks and stuff like that. So I bought the Jumbo expansion, but considering how much time I put into the game and all that, I think it's well worth the money.
So from the physical components of the game, it's worth $200. And when you watch a lot of the reviewers, the unboxing or the announcing of the Kickstarter, that's one of the things they talk about. The map is beautiful. I mean, just look at this. This is just the middle of the map. I mean, this is the big jumbo map we have out here. It's a really good looking map. All the counters are of high quality. You're not getting any chintzy game parts here. Okay. Now, the real reason though you should back the Kickstarter and get 2nd edition if you don't have it is because when it comes to World War II games, I really do believe it is the best game in the sense of you're having to make choices all the time. You have hidden movement, hidden orders. You're having to bid for turn order. So like up here, guys, we have our turn order track. So you're having to make choices on do you wish to bid oil, which is a crucial resource for you. So it changes up the turn order every turn. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of guys who play the game go, that's the coolest part of the game. The bidding for turn order, the hidden movements. You don't know exactly what's going on. You have limited orders. I know a lot of guys who have done the reviews of the game talk about these things. But as a World War II gamer, and Bryce is a World War II gamer, these are really cool concepts. It really draws you into the game, and it really immerses you in different tactics and strategies. Every game is different. There's no single path to the game. Like, let's talk about Larry Harris for a second. Larry developed Axis and Allies, which obviously turned into a great franchise, and his grand opus of Axis and Allies with the 1940 strategy, or board game where it was Eastern Front or European and Pacific. But it always was, they go first, we go second, they go third, we go fourth, and and it became modeled. What do you think about that, Bryce? I mean, isn't that the big difference between War Room and Larry's other great game, Axis and Allies?
The simultaneous movement, I think, is the number one improvement from his bread and butter games to War Room. I mean, in Axis and Allies, someone's always going before you, and you can kind of just wait and see what they do, and then you can think, about how you want to respond. And And I think going back to what you said about why War Room is so good, I was talking to a guy that designs games, and he said one of the key metrics for him was decisions per hour. And if you have a player that's not making at least 3 decisions per hour or more, the game is probably going to be boring. Well, in these turn, I go, you go games, sometimes there's a lot of downtime for you, especially if you're playing a multiplayer game. Like if you're playing Axis and Allies Global 40 and you actually have, say, 4 players or 5 players playing, and you're going, you're playing one of the countries that goes towards the end, it could be 30 minutes before you actually get to make a decision, do something in the game. Whereas in War Room, you are constantly making decisions, constantly bidding for turn order, constantly figuring out what you're going to build. If you're playing the out-of-the-box rules, you're deciding how you set up your units on the battle board. So the decisions per hour for War Room is far greater than, say, Axis and Allies.
Well, I would say it's far greater than the vast majority of World War II type games.
Sure.
That's I think for World War II fans, that's the big thing that they really enjoy about War Room, is that you can play a 5-player game, 6-player game of War Room, and everybody is always constantly paying attention to the game. Decisions are being made all the time. There is a lot of kibitzing going on between the Axis players and the Allied players while the turn's going on. You're never just the guy sitting over in the corner going, when's my turn coming up? What do I got to do? You're always engaged in the game and very active, which is, trust me, guys, if you're going to commit to a game that it's going to be maybe an 8 to 10 hour game, it's a lot more fun if the whole time you're engaged in the game.
Yeah, you want to be doing something.
Yeah, you're always doing something. And sometimes that doing something is just being the accountant of the game, so to speak. When we're pulling units off to the battle board, or if you're using the quick combat system, you're helping facilitate that. You're always interacting with the game. There's very little downtime in this game. And that is a really cool selling feature on the game. Now, in the grand strategy of World War II games, War Room is a beer and pretzel game. It is. It is nowhere near the level of like Third Reich or World in Flames, or, where we're getting into the weeds on the specific fronts. But it is an elevated Axis and Allies type game. And I really think in your game collection of World War II games, it fits a really nice niche.
Yeah.
If you just want to have, hey guys, let's just on Saturday, let's just play it out for whatever, all day or 6 hours. You just say, let's just play War Room. You're going to have a blast. You're going to have a lot of fun playing the game.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's definitely not going to be like Europa, where you're spending an hour trying to find those little engineering divisions.
Don't get me started.
Germany
Europa,
has like 3 of those specialized engineering divisions.
Yeah, where they have to re-gauge it from 12 to 14 gauge or whatever. So
where did I put that engineering chit? I don't know.
Guys, I mean, I could really talk about all the little nuances of the game, and that's why I love the game, is because the rules are simple. Literally, if a new player showed up, you could hand him the rule book and go, just hang out in the corner for 15 minutes and read the rule book. He can read the rule book and show up at the table, and he's good to go.
Yeah.
But the game is there's so much of the subtle stuff that we all like as gamers. I personally think the best games out there are the ones that have the thinnest rule book, but when you play the game, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much depth to the game.
Yeah.
Variation of tactics, and you play the game and you realize, oh, I should have been doing this and I should have been doing that, and and then when you play the second time through, And that's the other big thing about War Room is, and especially if you guys watch a lot of YouTube reviews on the game, is everybody wants to play it again. And I think it's because they realize after they played it the first time, oh, I didn't realize that this concept was happening. And it's such a cool concept, like the bidding for oil and how the turn orders work and how the hidden movements work. And it's just a really good game for anybody who likes board gaming, World War II style board gaming. And
yeah, it's.
I mean, that's what it is, and I don't want to get into the weeds of how the combat system works and all that stuff. That doesn't matter. I mean, the first decision is it a good game?
Yeah, I mean, look, we could. Kevin and I have played enough board games in our lives that we can tear apart any game. I don't care what game you say is the best game ever made. We can tear it apart. There's always going to be parts of any particular game that you like or you don't like, but for me, the question is, my two questions for when I evaluate games is, I like games with lots of choices. So my first question is, do I have a lot of choices? And then the second part for me is it replayable? You know, how's the replayability level? And so, to me, I would give high marks to War Room on both of those. You're always making lots of choices, and the replayability is very high. Now, is it a perfect game in every way? No, it's not. And so, you know, if you go surfing on the internet for War Room comments, you're going to come across people, you know, it's got too many dice. You know, I mean, so you'll have those people that just don't like dice-heavy games, you know, and... Okay, yes, it has a lot of dice.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, is it really any different than if you're playing, say, Settlers of Catan and you really need a 3 or a 8 rolled and a 3 or an 8 isn't rolled in like 7 turns? It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
You know?
And yes.
The dice screwed me. All right,
anybody who goes on the Board Game Geek, I forget his name, but it was from like 2 years ago on first edition where he said it was Ameritrash. Basically alluding to Ameritrash, for you guys in the dark, basically means an American style game is all about just taking a fistful of dice and rolling it, and it is what it is. Well, yeah, there is that certain element of the game, and you could say that's a negative of the game, but I fully embrace it as a fellow American. I think that's how dice games should be played. Like, hey, going back to my roots of playing Risk. I mean, come on, man. I mean, isn't that the ultimate dice chucker? Risk?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Risk. Anyway, so for the other guys, though, you know, I'm a hardcore War Room guy, Larry Harris, Axis and Allies type guy, just World War II game guy in general. But for the people out there who aren't that, they want to have a great game in their collection. If you're like a collector, this game is going to look great on your shelf. Pull it out one time, maybe 2 times. I guarantee you will thoroughly enjoy this game.
I think that's true. Yeah. I really do.
You don't have to immerse yourself into the game like I have and Bryce has. If you buy this game and you bring over 5 of your other friends and you guys just play it once or twice, I guarantee you guys will go, this is a really cool game. And it might go back on the shelf and you might not play it again for a year and a half. But I have a sneaky suspicion a bunch of the guys who played it with you would go, why don't we play that War Room game again?
Yeah.
Because it was that much fun. You don't have to immerse yourself completely into it like I have. But every gamer has a couple games on their shelf that they just love pulling back off and off and off. Like Bryce and I really love Mayfair's rail games. Yep. We love these games. Mayfair's rail games are our go-to. If we don't really know what we're going to do, we'll just throw out Euro rails or Russian rails or, you know, India Rails, or whatever.
Fits my criteria.
Yeah.
Lots of choices, excellent replayability.
Yeah, and it's a go-to game. I really do think for a lot of game groups, War Room would be that go-to game. It's that good. You don't have to immerse yourself where, like, every time we get together as a game group, we're going to play War Room.
Yeah.
It's
not as complicated as World in Flames, which most people don't have, 6 months to play. But it's not so stripped down that you're playing like the first edition original 5-country Axis and Allies.
Yeah.
Where, there's not really a whole lot of strategy to that game. Yeah. It's just kind of, okay, who rolls 6-sided dice better? War Room is a good attempt at finding that middle ground where it's a little bit more sophisticated than just, Risk or your original Axis and Allies, but it's not going to take you 3 weeks just to figure out what the weather is.
Well, that's a good point. That damn weather chart.
Still haven't found it.
Oh, man, that weather chart. It's pretty tricky sometimes in some of these games. So we're just going to cut it off right here, guys. We're big fans of this game. We're big-time World War II type style players. And that's really why I think you should back this project. Get in. Get in on it. And it's going to fit everybody's criteria. The guys who, they love collecting, it's going to be a great addition in their collection. It looks awesome. The visuals are great. For the guys who only play it 1, 2, maybe 3 times with their friends, you're going to enjoy every game session. It'll be well worth the money. And then for, of course, the hardcore guys like myself, this game is just epic on choices, replayability, the variables. It's just, it covers everybody's box on a game to have in your collection, regardless of where you're at on that scale. So I encourage everybody to back the project, get your second edition copy. I'm not going to go into the differences between second and first edition. They're actually not that big and grand. There's other videos out there that Nightingale's put out. You can look at those to see the nitty gritty of what the actual changes are. But trust me, guys, it's not a huge difference. The first edition guys like me, we don't have to freak out. Nothing's changing. Like, if I don't get it, my map's out of date, or, everything's out of date, and that's not going to happen. So everybody needs to be calm.
Yeah, I don't think they're making any map changes.
No, there's no map changes.
There's no map changes.
There's the rule changes are all going to be on the internet, so everybody can see them.
Yeah, and essentially, really,
it's not a big deal.
The rules aren't really changing per se. They're just allowing you different ways to play to speed up gameplay. Sure,
and we're going to talk about that in our next video, guys, just on some of the changes that War Room's having, like with quick battle system and stuff from the original edition.
Yeah.
But if you're intrigued by that, check out the next video. We'll talk about some of the changes they've made from first edition when it comes specifically to the rules, when it comes to speeding up play. So, guys, back the project. Get in on it. I believe it ends at the end of June, so you still have like 2 weeks to make your decision.
And as always, if you love these videos, please don't forget to subscribe. See y'all later.
Adios, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.